Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking at just one source, an article with a pretty challenging idea about your body. About those aches, pains, that tension maybe in your shoulders. We usually think, okay, something's wrong, gotta fix it, maybe even fight it. But what if it's not broken? What if it's communication? So our mission here is to unpack this. The idea that your body's physical stuff, the sensations, their signals, stories even, just waiting for you to listen.
Yeah, it's a really interesting way to look at it, isn't it?
Yeah.
The source kind of confronts how we normally react.
Mhm.
Starts with this line that just grabs you. Pain isn't proof something's wrong, it's proof something still matters.
Whoa. Okay, let's sit with that. Something still matters. Because, my instinct, probably like most people's, is pain equals stop, danger, broken. How does it mean matters?
Well, it's about shifting perspective. The source is saying maybe that ache, that tightness,
Yeah.
it's not a problem to solve. It's the signal asking to be heard. It moves us away from just fixing it toward just paying attention, understanding. And the article points out, look, these aren't always fresh injuries. They might be, and I'm quoting here, old signals ignored long enough to harden.
Ignored signals.
Yeah.
Hardening. Yeah, I can kind of picture that. Like a little tap you ignore, then it gets louder, maybe it becomes a constant pressure. And this ties into the idea that our bodies talk to us, right? Like emotions do, but quieter.
Exactly. The source really leans into that. It says the body doesn't yell, it taps, it hums, it waits. And this bit is crucial. Pain speaks softly.
Pain speaks softly. That's
Yeah.
striking because usually pain feels loud. But if it's soft, you have to get quiet to hear it. You have to actually stop and listen.
Precisely. You've got to slow down. The article stresses this. If you're rushing, you'll miss it. It talks about honoring even the smallest signal as something sacred.
So, yeah, if life's too noisy, too busy, you're just going to miss these messages. Okay, so if we accept this, the body's whispering these signals, how do we, actually learn the language? It's not like there's a manual. The article gives a practical step, doesn't it? An exercise.
It does, yeah. A pretty simple 5-day exercise.
Yeah.
First step, pick one sensation, something subtle, maybe recurring. Could be that knot in your shoulder, that lower back thing that comes and goes.
Yeah.
Something you notice, but maybe usually just ignore or push through.
Got it. Pick one thing. Then what? For 5 days.
You gently check in with it every day. And you ask it specific questions, the source suggests. Where do you live in my body? When do you visit? Also, what memory or mood do you carry? And maybe the most interesting one. What happens when I stop trying to fix you?
Those are great questions, especially what memory or mood do you carry? That hints it's not just physical, right? Could be emotional history tied up in there. And that last one, what happens when I stop trying to fix you? That feels like the absolute core of this whole idea.
It really is. And the instruction is super clear. You are not interpreting, you're listening. It's not about figuring it out, not about making it go away. Just observe. Be present with it. Don't judge it. Don't have an agenda. Just listen.
That sounds simple, but actually doing it feels radical. Does the author share how this worked for them? I think there was something about a knee.
Yes, exactly. The author talks about this recurring knee pain.
Yeah.
And when they finally listened, like really listened, using this approach, the whisper they heard from the knee was, surprisingly, you want to be more flexible.
Wait, the knee pain said they needed to be more flexible, not like my cartilage is worn out or I need a brace.
Right. It seems indirect.
Hmm.
But the author realized they were, well, kind of stubborn. Wanted flexibility, sure, but only on their own terms. So instead of just physical therapy for the knee stretching, exercises, all that,
Yeah.
they tried something else.
Okay, what did they do?
They called it a quiet audit. Not of their knee, but of their posture toward life. Basically, looking for where else in their life they were being rigid, refusing to bend or yield. Not physically, but maybe mentally, emotionally.
Ah, so they looked inward for inflexibility prompted by the knee. That's a fascinating connection.
Totally. They figured the knee wasn't just a knee issue, it was reflecting this bigger pattern. And by working on that internal rigidity, by, quote, softening the parts that wouldn't bend inside themselves, the author says the knee pain just resolved itself.
Wow, okay. That's profound. The body lets go when you do. It really makes you wonder how many physical things are tied to deeper stuff we're just not seeing or listening to.
It pushes us to see symptoms as more than just glitches. The article calls them stories.
Stories, right. And that leads to that powerful metaphor the source uses, the body as a library.
Yes, it's such a vivid image. Your body isn't just, parts. It's a library of unsent letters.
Unsent letters, wow. What kind of letters are we talking about here?
Well, the article suggests some are from childhood. maybe forgotten experiences. Some are in a language we've lost touch with, that intuitive gut-feeling language. But they're all there, quote, waiting to be read, not judged, not fixed, just heard. It implies our bodies hold this deep history, constantly communicating things our conscious mind might miss or suppress.
Okay, so the body's this library sending quiet messages. What's the downside of just ignoring it all? Leaving those letters unopened. The source warns about that, right?
Oh, yeah, there's a cost. The
Mhm.
source says if you, quote, ignore it long enough, and even the pain gives up, maybe the signal just fades or changes form. Or the opposite happens. It waits until it has to, quote, scream. The message finds a louder way.
And the author had a personal experience with that screaming, right?
Eh,
Ended up in the hospital.
they did. It's a powerful anecdote. Intense chest tightness, panic, really scary physical symptoms.
Hmm.
They went to the hospital, and while it wasn't the specific medical crisis they feared, it was a huge wake-up call. They realized they had, quote, trained themselves to ignore whispers until they became sirens.
Right.
They'd gotten so good at pushing through that the body had to yell.
That's a scary illustration of the cost. Ignoring the taps leads to sirens. There's another metaphor, too, something about a ball.
Yeah, from a friend of the author's, the spiked ball in a box.
Yeah.
Your conscience or maybe your body's signals. It's like this spiked ball. When it needs attention, it hits the wall of the box. That's the message, the feeling. But if you keep ignoring it, the spike's dull.
So the message is still there, the ball's still hitting the wall, but we can't feel it as sharply anymore. We've kind of numbed ourselves.
Exactly. And the source points out how we do that. Through alcohol, overmedication, or distraction disguises productivity.
Hmm.
These things become ways we avoid feeling, avoid listening to those letters in the library.
Distraction disguised as productivity. Whew. I think a lot of us might recognize that one. Stay busy, keep moving, don't stop long enough to feel what's really going on underneath.
Totally. And the alternative the source presents is, well, listening earlier, tuning into the whispers. When you do that, it says the messages get clearer, the pain gets quieter, and the dignity returns. It's like reclaiming something important.
So this listening, it's not just pain management. It sounds like a path to a different kind of awareness. How does the article suggest we walk that path?
It calls listening a discipline. The key phrase is stillness before strategy. Pause. Listen first. Then decide what, if anything, to do.
Stillness before strategy, that's the opposite of our usual reaction, isn't it? Which is jump straight to fixing, doing something. This is about being first.
Right. It's described as almost like a treasure hunt for these subtle clues inside you. Not forcing, just exploring. And there's this interesting idea. High performance isn't louder. It's quieter. It's learning to feel the shift before it shows.
Feel the shift before it shows. Wow. Like an early warning system, being so attuned, you can make tiny adjustments before things become big problems.
Exactly. The source describes this progression. You move from reaction, just dealing with problems as they arise, to refinement, making subtle tweaks based on inner signals, to resonance. Resonance meaning this deeper, more harmonious connection with your body's intelligence. And you get there not by pushing, but through profound embodied listening.
Profound embodied listening. It really does sound like learning a whole new skill, maybe that language the article mentioned.
That's exactly how it wraps up, with encouragement. You're not behind. You're just newly fluent. It takes the pressure off. Suggests it's okay if that feels new or unfamiliar.
I like that, newly fluent. It reframes feeling out of touch as just being a beginner. Makes it less daunting.
Yeah, it circles back to that core idea. The body is a language to learn. It takes practice, attention.
And the final simple instruction, the mantra to remember.
It repeats that key line. Pain speaks softly. Listen carefully.
Pain speaks softly. Listen carefully. That really sums it up. Our bodies aren't just machines breaking down, they're communicating, holding stories, inviting us to listen, not just fix.
It's an invitation to be curious, to be respectful of those sensations, treating them like valuable information.
So maybe this week, think about trying that 5-day exercise. Pick one little thing, that tightness, that ache, and instead of immediately trying to get rid of it, just ask it those questions for a few minutes each day. Where are you? When do you show up? What mood comes with you? What if I just listen?
It's a gentle way to start reading your own library of unsent letters.
If your body is that library full of letters waiting, what's the most urgent one waiting for you right now? Maybe something to ponder this week.